Yo, what's up, everybody? It is Monday, September 16th. So this is the big week. We're going to get the rate cut on Wednesday. And right now, it's kind of a neurotic discussion going on out there. 25 basis points, 50 basis points, 25 basis points. I mean, this is just another example, at least in my eyes, of the neurosis of the whole monetarist group out there, that this drilling down, this micro focus. What's it going to be, a 25 or a 50 basis point, like it makes any difference? Well, it does in one sense, but not in the sense of how these people are viewing it. Of course, I've been so many times over, their single variable analysis. They see everything through the lens of the debt side. They don't see anything through the lens of the asset side, the way it's reported in the media, from mainstream economics, from academia. I mean, it's pathetic. I mean, it's a kind of a neurotic thing. It's a kind of a neuroses. And, this is the intense micro scrutiny on what's it going to be, 25 or 50 basis points, like it makes a difference in the big scheme of things. It doesn't. It doesn't. And honestly, the 50 basis point cut, which right now it looks like that's what the market is pricing in. The 50 basis point rate cut is only going to hasten the removal of those interest income transfers, which is what I've been talking about for months now, as we've been leading up to this finality of these rate cuts, when they're actually going to happen now. So, but that's not being discussed. That's never mentioned. That's not even understood, really. It's just like it wasn't understood how the rate increases resulted in over $1 trillion in government transfers in the form of interest income. And that has been the main factor keeping the economy in a positive growth mode. As I've said before, we're only growing like 2.5%. If you took away that trillion, and it's more than $1 trillion, if you took that away, we'd have negative growth. We'd be in a pretty significant recession, I believe, right now. And that could still happen. I mean, I already see in the data, and if you subscribe to my report, I put some graphics in there. I see in the data already a deceleration in the year-over-year comparisons in interest income transfers. And that deceleration is only going to get faster once the Fed starts to cut, and there's a positive gap there now, like, more interest has been transferred this year than last year, but that's narrowing, that's shrinking, and very quickly will go negative year over year. So that would equate to a net removal of interest income. But you're not going to find that anywhere else. By the way, I guess this is a good time to say, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Thank you very much for those of you who have done that already, and I appreciate it. So the Dow touched a new record high today. I don't know if it was an official close there. The NASDAQ and the S&P still lag. The S&P's close. The NASDAQ's still a decent way off. I suspect on Wednesday, when we get this rate cut, we're going to see a reflexive bullish reaction on the part of people. Again, everybody looks at the market or talks about the market, or the analytical framework is always from a monetarist perspective. And, they don't understand it. They understand half of it. But that's not necessarily the important half. I mean, when you understand and when you realize that the non-government is a net creditor. Mike, what do you mean by net creditor? Well, we know the so-called 35 trillion government debt, right? Well, that's held by the non-government. So they own those government securities. They're a net creditor. And once you start messing around with interest rates, you affect their financial position. You're either transferring money to them via rate increases, or you're taking money away from them with rate cuts. I mean, rate cuts, functionally, they're like a tax. I mean, what does a tax do? What does a tax do? It removes income. So, I mean, you could basically, it's the same definition, it's just in a different form. But, and I know some of you guys are going to say, well, yeah, but you don't have to pay as much on your credit cards and your loans. Again, the net government, or the government rather, is a net creditor. We own 35 trillion of government securities. I mean, we hear about that shit all the time about, oh, the government debt, the government debt. We own that debt. That goes to the non-government. So you start cutting and the income gets taken away. That's how it works. So, yeah, I mean, like I've been saying for months, I'm looking forward to this. I'm excited about this. I can't wait for this to happen. I will be able to show in the numbers, and not just in the numbers, in the performance of the economy. I will be able to show in the performance of the markets exactly what I have been saying. It's going to play out. This is not some kind of a guess. This is not some kind of a wild speculation. I'm not sitting here rolling the dice and, oh, it came up, it came up my way. I'm going to say it's going to go this way. No, this is just pure mathematics, arithmetic, whatever you want to call it. It's pure understanding of the way things work. If you understand how things work, I mean, it's like physics. If you understand that when you apply a force to something, there's a reaction, is basically the same concept, okay? It's understanding what that force is and understanding what the reaction is going to be. So I have no worries about it. I know how it's going to play out. I do realize that not everybody is like me from the standpoint of understanding how this works. And really, 99.9%, I could even say 100% of the rest of who's ever out there sees it in the same way that it's described from the mainstream monetarist perspective. Just like they were saying back in 2023, every single one of them universally were saying there was going to be a recession, there was going to be a market crash. Go back, listen to my videos from last year, and I said that is not going to happen. I talked about what was going to be the acceleration in these interest income transfers because of the rate increases. And lately, I've been saying, even before I had evidence of this, I was saying that the increases in interest income transfers were going to flatten out and they were going to start to go down. That's already happening. Everything I said is already happening. And now we're coming into a period or a time, where I've kind of labeled it, we're at the start or the beginning of a shift in the fiscal and monetary conditions of the economy. Okay, we were in a different set of conditions from March 2022 until now. Now we're switching to a whole new set of monetary and fiscal conditions, and that's not something where you say, oh, it's going to go down tomorrow. I'm giving you the big picture. I'm giving you, as a matter of fact, I've been telling you guys all the way through next year what's going to happen. I said, unless we have some kind of fiscal offset to next year's expiration of the Trump tax cuts and the smaller increases in cost of living adjustments for Social Security, Medicare, all that other stuff, unless we see that, you got a negative situation which will be compounded by the Fed cutting interest rates and that removal of interest income. That's how it's going to play out, okay? So strategize as you should. If you come on board with me with my report, I give strategy. I tell you how to play this. And if you'd like to do that, please feel free to go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com, sign up for a 30-day free trial to MMT Trader. Anyway, that's it for today, folks. Hope you had a nice weekend, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.